Hello, 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 good morning, my listeners. This is Wiktor, Doctor, and this is Good Morning BSS World podcast, where you can listen to some stories, some facts, and some myths about the business support services all around the world. Today I have for you the episode number 59, and I will share some tips, maybe not even tips, but some information about the newest second edition of Focus on Business magazine, which was issued in the late January 2022. I have it in front of me, so you may hear some disturbances like moving paper all around my desk, but this is a very, very nice experience when you hold a paper magazine in your hands instead of just watching this, what you have on your screens of smartphones, of tablets, of laptops or other TV screens. So anyway, I have a printed edition of Focus on Business magazine in my hands, which was prepared by Pro Progressio in January 2022. It is full of very interesting stories, and I will share with you the content of this magazine in the next few minutes. So, the main topic of the magazine this time is CSR, but CSR in a huge business, which is Samsung Electronics Poland. Here there is an interview with Magdalena Olborska, CSR manager from Samsung, who shares a lot of interesting insights about how CSR is being run within Samsung Electronics company. This is the main story, the cover page. Miss Magdalena Olborska is on the cover page of Focus on Business magazine, the second edition of this magazine, which was issued in 2022. So anyway, let's move into other pages. Let's open it, and here are other stories which you can find out in this magazine. So it starts with the description of Wind of Change. This is not the Scorpions song, but this is a new theme of a new event which you will be able to attend on the April 7th, 2022 in Gdańsk, in Poland. Yes, Wind of Change is the title of an annual BSS forum organized by Pro Progressio, and this forum, of course, is accompanied with Outsourcing Stars Gala. Outsourcing Stars Gala is going to be organized for the 9th time already, and I must say you may expect unexpected things, because a lot of interesting stories and a lot of interesting, let's say, inspirations, business inspirations. Yeah, I think this is a good description. It will happen on April 7th. If you want to read a little bit how it is going to look like, but also to see the pictures from the previous forums and the galas, you can find it on the pages of Focus on Business magazine. But let's move forward. After this intro, I would say, to the magazine, there is a story by Bartłomiej Babańczyk, who is representing Baker and McKenzie. Baker McKenzie is a very fine legal agency who operates all around the world, and in here the representative of Baker McKenzie is writing a story about employee activity in social media. If you want to be aware what can or what cannot be allowed by employees in social media, how to attempt the area, for example, of criticism of the employer in social media, this is the element which you can read about in the on the pages of Focus on magazine. Of course, this is not the only one legal story in here. As some of you may be aware, in Poland, starting from January 1st, there is something what is called Polish deal. This is a huge legal change when it comes to the accounting area and the payroll area. So there were a lot of rumors about this element, so it is good to be aware how it is working, what is not working, how to deal with Polish deal, in fact. And here, Polish deal, the new way of business, is being described by Dorota Chudzik and Konrad Matuszewski from Chudzik and Company legal company, who is based in the city of Łódź. And Chudzik and partners are, of course, sharing their legal news in every issue of Focus on Business magazine. So here is another story about Polish deal. I am fully recommending to read this story because this is absolutely very, very important element if you run business in Poland. Later on, corporate social responsibility, hot or not. Here, Natalia Jaskulska is sharing a story from Barry Calabout Shared Service Center. Yes, Barry Calabout is running the global service center in the city of Łódź, and of course, as many of SSC or GBS companies, this one is also very much focused on the CSR activities. So, corporate social responsibility, is it still hot, or maybe it is not? From the perspective of one of the big shared services located in Poland, this is one of the stories which you can also get familiar on pages 18 and 19 of Focus on Business magazine. Next story, Time Eaters, the first such calculator. Yes, the company Positive Productivity have introduced into the market very first time something what is called a calculator of eaten time. Yes, this is a tool which is available online where you can calculate how much time do you lose on some simple or processes, or maybe the processes which you may not be aware at all. So about these time eaters, the story by Krzysztof Pimpicki and Michał Stangret is also shared on the pages of Focus on Business magazine. And this calculator, of course, is not in the paper version. This is available on the internet, and the QR code to this calculator you can also scan on the pages of Focus on Business magazine and get directly to find out how much time do you lose on a daily processes. Later on, let's read about Flex Office, the modern solutions on office space market. In Poland, there is a very well-known operator of flex offices whose name is Rize.pl, but they have also other brand which is called chilispaces.com, and Piotr Augustyn, who is the founder and CEO of Chili Spaces, is sharing information about how flex offices work and how modern this solution is for nowadays. I'm more than sure that the pandemic times have built in your mind such a thought, such an approach that, do I need an office? Do I need a standard office? Or maybe I should do some changes within this area. So flex offices are the answer for the current times. How does it work? Who are Chili Spaces and Rize.pl? You can find out about that also in the Focus on Business magazine. Let's move forward. Another story, find the perfect office chair and increase workplace well-being, holistic approach to ergonomics in the office. Absolutely very, very important subject, because all of us who work in the offices, we use chairs, but what kind of chairs we should use? How big impact on our health do they have? This is absolutely very, very important subject. And this story is brought to you by Kinnarps company, very well-known Swedish business who operates all around the world, and he has a very strong position also in Central and Eastern Europe. I will share with you 3 things to consider when choosing a task chair. So what they are: number 1, how will the chair be used? Will it be shared with several users? How long will you sit? What kind of work will you do? Those are the first questions which you should answer. The number 2, choose movement for well-being. Look for a chair with functions that encourage movement. Yeah, it's a very, very important area as well. And number 3, try and feel what suits you best. Your chair should be comfortable and easy to customize for your needs. Make sure that controls are easily accessible and intuitive. How many of you are using such chairs? I believe most of us, actually, this is including myself as well, should take a closer look into the chairs which we are using at our homes, at our offices, and most probably it's a time for change. So, okay, let's move from Kinnarps to another story. This time we go to Balma. Balma is a Polish producer of office furniture, and here this company is sharing with us the answer for the question, what will the office of the future look like? Whoa, another story from the offices area. So as you might hear from the few minutes behind us already, there were a story about flex offices, there was a story about the chair, and now about the future office. Here, Mr. Szymon Polański has presented some of his photos to inspire us about the way how the office may look like in the future, and the story describing the flexible office, the safe office, the healthy office, the multifunctional office is being brought to you by Balma representatives. Then on the following pages we have this main theme of the magazine, which is the answer for better tomorrow, describing the CSR activities of Samsung Electronics in Poland. And after that main story we move already to the investment area, which are the stories from various cities and various countries. The outsourcing services, the business support services are growing globally, and it's good to be aware how it is being done in various countries. So here, for example, the information coming from Lviv IT cluster brought to you by Julia Kozlenko is talking about Lviv Tech, an innovative platform for IT companies to meet new clients. Yes, such new approach is being run in Lviv IT cluster, and I must say this is very well organized IT organization located in Ukraine. Every year they are organizing Lviv IT Arena, excellent event. If you haven't been so far at Lviv IT Arena, I'm fully recommending to consider it to go. They usually organize it in either September or October, and I'm sure this year it is going to be organized one more time. So go there and find out about the worldwide best approach to IT areas, but including, of course, the main focus on this, what is happening in the city of Lviv or in the Ukraine as such. Okay, so let's from Lviv move to a little bit to north to Lithuania, and here I have a story brought to you by Ruta Kristiunaite. This is a senior investment advisor from Invest Lithuania, who is writing about 2021 in Lithuania's global business services, a year of success. Lithuania, small country, but very, very well known on the global map of the BPO and GBS companies. This country is growing every year, is having a fantastic offer for GBS companies. And how this year of 2021 looked like in Lithuania, here you can read the summary of this year brought to you by Ruta. So from Lithuania we move again to Poland, and in Poland we have stories from the city of Bydgoszcz. Bydgoszcz is writing how the city is attracting the investors from various types of businesses, not necessarily BSS companies, but also some production ones and some warehouses and also some others. So if you want to get familiar with what you can find out for your industry in the city of Bydgoszcz, this is brought to you on pages of Focus on Business magazine as well. And then this story is followed by the city of Kielce. Here is also even a quote of the mayor of the city, Mr. Bogdan Venta, who is sharing such a thought. I will quote it to you. We are very happy that the obtained funding helps young people acquire important practical IT skills necessary on the labor market. The IT industry is one of the most important sectors in Kielce. We believe that by helping students already at the stage of school education, we shape human resources for investors, and this will result in the development of our city. So, as you may already find it out, this is a story about supporting the IT sector in the city of Kielce, and of course this is investment in human resources. Nearly every Polish city is growing their activities to increase the know-how, the knowledge, the skills in the IT area, and the city of Kielce is also one of those cities. Then another story, but this time coming to you, brought to you from the city of Poznań: digitalization, necessity or opportunity. Yeah, RPA, digitalization, automation, those are the areas which are also growing a lot within the last decade, and here the city of Poznań decided to focus on it a little bit more. So is it still necessity or an opportunity? Let's find the answer on that, which is brought to you by the city of Poznań. This story is followed also by a very interesting interview run with Mr. Arkadiusz Kosecki, who is director of Elbląg Technology Park. And so if we are talking to Elbląg Technology Park, you may already be aware that this is a story about this technology park, which is a place where science and business meet together. So Elbląg is a city located very close to the Tri-City area, but it is placed in another voivodeship of Poland. And technology parks are such places where a lot of startups, a lot of small businesses start their experience on the regular business market, regular business area. How it is done in Elbląg, why it is a good place to start such business, and why it is good to cooperate between each other, these answers you can find out in this story on the pages of Focus on Business magazine. This is one of the last stories from the Polish cities, but not the very, very last, because here is again another story brought to you by Anna Tymoshenko, who is representing Częstochowa, Invest in Częstochowa office, and Anna is writing about employer branding on Jura. Employer branding are the events who are brought to city of Częstochowa since 3 years already, and every year they are in a huge interest of a lot of companies coming from other cities. So the main place to find out about employer branding in Poland is the city of Częstochowa, and here is a description how it was organized in the last weeks of 2021. The last but not least is the section of HR, which is also brought to you in the magazine of Focus on Business. And here are two stories. Yes, the first one is answering to the question, what is the secret sauce to employer branding in BSS? And this is a story brought to you, given to you by Joanna Dudar from Randstad company. Joanna is a strategic business development director at Randstad in Poland, and this is very, very important question which we need to know the answer to, especially when we are still in the COVID times. And the second story, the second HR story is brought to you by Marek Jankowicz-Bogdański, project manager, and Dominika Pociecha, senior project coordinator at Kelly Services. Those two experts are bringing you the story knowledge of niche languages is an asset in the labor market. How many of you are working in the foreign environment? How many of your companies are using foreign languages to provide top class services to your clients? I am more than sure that most of your companies operate on international markets and have to deal with the languages. So here, the experts from Kelly Services are describing how important it is and how to approach this subject. Full stop. Yes, we are at the very, very end of this 59th episode of Good Morning BSS World podcast. You may expect another episode of this podcast in a very, very short time, and this is going to be a discussion about the Ukrainian IT industry. Ukraine. I like this country very much, and especially how the IT is growing in their cities. Okay, but for the moment, this is the end. Thank you very much for being with me. If you liked it, press the thumb up or just subscribe this podcast, and then you will have another episode of Good Morning BSS World podcast brought to you in your podcast tool or YouTube, because this podcast is also available on YouTube. Thank you very much. Have a great day and talk to you soon.